Hello and welcome to YHA IoT, the Young Hacks Academy Internet of Things, where today we're going to get up and running with an admin application that will be in control of your Internet of Things network. What is an Internet of Things network? Well, glad you asked. It connects smart devices, which we're going to refer to in this picture as PLC1 and PLC2. And it connects them with people who use those smart devices in helpful ways. Those smart devices might in reality be things that sense things in your house, allow you to control things in your house. Maybe they could even be things that you wear on your body, like a smart sensor that detects your heartbeat and can measure possibly even blood pressure or respiratory rate. Okay, we'll be just referring to these here as PLC1 and PLC2, but these could have many, many specific meanings. To get those connected to people such as you, which we will call clients, we are going to set up an admin application, and that's what we're going to be using this glitch website for. Because it's going to enable all of this wonderful network to happen. So let's first go over to the top left and have you remix this project. Once you've remixed it, it will give it a funny name, and we'll have you change that name to something that's more sensible and appropriate to what we're doing here. So what I'll do is I will rename this YHA hyphen admin hyphen example. Okay, so over here I've given it a name that has more meaning than the one that it gave me. You will notice that there is an error with the program currently. This application has an error right now. If we click on this button, it actually shows us some details about that error. But don't worry, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it right now. In order to fix it, what we will need to do is we will need to fill in some information on this file here, this .env file, which is a secret file that only you can see. And we will also be adding some information or replacing some information that's over in this particular file on the left-hand side. You can see it's index.html. So we will be replacing this information, and we will be putting in the project ID, the client email, and the private key, and we will get those from Firebase. So, hey, let's go ahead and start doing that. So if you go to firebase.google.com and click console, it will take you to right here. So if I wasn't at the console, if I was just at Firebase, you would click up here on the right, go to console, and it will take you to the console. Once in the console, we're going to click plus to add a project. And I'm going to name this project the same thing as my admin app, YHA hyphen admin hyphen example. Now you name yours, whatever you named your admin project at Glitch, and go ahead and click there. It's not absolutely necessary that they're named the same thing, but it keeps a better sense of organization. So let's go ahead and continue to the project. Once in the project, we're going to click over here on the left where it says authentication and click sign in method. And we are going to select Google. And down here, we are going to switch to enable Google sign in and click save. Now we can see Google sign in is enabled. The next thing we'll do is go down here to authorized domains. We'll click add domain and we'll type in the name of our glitch project, which is YHA. For me, it's YHA hyphen admin hyphen example. And then everybody's, after the name of your glitch project, everybody's going to put the same ending, .glitch.me. And we'll click add. That enables your glitch app to connect to this Firebase. It will also need a few other things to connect, but definitely needs to be added there. Okay, the next thing we will do is to go over to the database section on the left. At the database section, we are going to select real-time database, not Cloud Firestore, real-time database, get started, and start in locked mode. We're going to have our own rules in a moment. So it creates a database, an empty database, and we'll click rules. There's the rules at the beginning, which basically says that you can't read and you can't write, so it's locked. We're going to change those rules, and I will give you a link to these rules right here, which you'll be able to copy and paste over those rules and publish them. And these rules will work well with the admin app that we are making. Okay, so once those rules are in there and published, now it's time to go. We can go back and look at the data. It's nothing there yet. We will change that in a little bit. The next thing we are going to do is to go over to this section where the settings are and click Project Settings, and then Service Accounts, and then go down here to where it says Generate a New Private Key. We will be using Node.js, so that's good. It's already set up. Generate New Private Key, and then click Generate Key. It's best to do this in Google Chrome. Google Chrome is definitely the best browser to do this in. Google Chrome nicely downloads things, and you can see them down here at the bottom. If I open a new tab in Google Chrome, I can drag that file into the tab and use this tab in the browser to view it. We will be using this information in just a moment. Okay, where are we going to use it? We're going to actually use it over in this .env file. But let's get the information from the index file first. Let's actually get this information first. Where do we find that at? So if we go over to the home button or the home picture on Firebase, and then click over here where it says add Firebase to your web app, it gives us some code that we can copy and that we can go ahead and paste, and I'll show you again the same section, over lines 17 through 29. I'll just paste over it, and then I will clean up the way it looks. I will tab this over, and there we go. Now we have our Firebase database referenced in this index.html file. Okay, lastly, at least for getting it running, we'll need to add the project ID, the client email, and the private key. And we get those from the file that we downloaded over here, this JSON file, JSON. Again, we put it in a new tab so we could view it. So we can get the project ID right here, just copy it. Once we've copied that, we can just go ahead and paste it in over here. No spaces. It will have errors if you have spaces. The next thing we want is the client email. We'll go over here and get the client email. And there it is. Copy that and put in the client email right there, paste it in. Finally, we need the private key. Go ahead over here and we're going to get this big thing called the private key. Copy that. And then we'll go over here and paste in the private key. Notice that mine is wrapping around. If you click up here, you can click to turn on wrapping the text. So it will wrap the text around so it looks like mine. And once that's done, we should see actually that our application is running now. Look at that. No error, and it says show live. Let's see what happened. If we go over here, I'll close this now. If we go over here, this is what our application starter looks like. Now we can sign in with Google and click sign in. And now here I am on the application screen, and it tells me that buzzer buzzing state is null. Well, this is an IoT application, and you will be started off by having a buzzer connected to a PLC device, and that buzzer will be sending information about itself to the database, and you will be able to also control the buzzer from the database. But for right now, we're just going to look at the code that's related to this screen. So it says buzzer buzzing state is null. Because if we go into the project and we go up to these two files here, the server module plugin and client module plugin, these are the two primary files that you will be working with. In the server module plugin, it says FB or Firebase subscribe to sensor buzz. Buzz is this path in the database that we want to find. But if we look in our database, we don't have anything that says buzz so far. If we actually go to our database, if I jump out of this, go into the database, our database is currently empty, other than it does have our sign-in. It does recognize us as a user, and it has the profile information there and everything. But it doesn't have any section here about a buzzer. So how can we make this at least seem to work at first? So if I go down here into this Firebase.js file, which you normally wouldn't have to work in, but I'm just going to do this for explanation purposes. Whenever you use this, what we will call a function, whenever you type in the code that says subscribe to sensor and pass it in a path, whatever you pass it in there, the first thing you pass in is going to be a path. In this case, the path that was passed in was buzz. So let's look at that again. So if we passed in buzz, down here it's expecting the database, to have a section in it called share/buzz. So if we would add that in by ourselves, we might actually see some change. So let's go to the database and add in manually. Click plus, and we'll just add in a section called share, a share section, go /buzz, and make the value false. Hit enter, and it will add that in the database, a share section where it has a buzz variable where the value is false. Look at the application now. Look at that. It detected the change to the database, and now it says false. What if we were to change that back or change that to true? Now I changed it to true. If we go back to the application senses that. If I would change it back to false, again, it senses that change. And that's the basic point for today's video. Next time we'll be looking at setting up the PLC, which is the device that we'll be using called the ESP8266 Node MCU. And we'll get that set up along with some very basic code. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this and were able to follow along. Take care.